Okay, we made it.
Got it.
We made it, you guys. Oh my goodness, happy New Year. Happy July 1st. I can't believe it's another July, another seminar year has come and gone. And so welcome to this new seminar 2018. And we are just going to get it off with a strong start here in the new year. So let's talk before we dive into this workbook, because here we are on July 1st, you guys. It's a fresh start. It's a new beginning. We have 365 days that lie ahead of us for this seminar year. Anything seems possible, and it should. And I hope you have that mindset today of hope and belief and encouragement and vision for what's going to come in this new year. Our hope should be high. Our dreams should be high. Our belief should be high. Because it feels like right now, I don't know if you have the feeling, but it feels almost, the new year can almost bring a sense of relief of like, whew, I got a fresh start. It's a new beginning. It can often have that feeling of like, okay, now I have time. I have enough time to reach my goals. And so I want to talk about that feeling because there's a little bit of deception in that feeling, of feeling like there's time. And I'm hearing a lot of shuffling, background noise. I'm going through and trying to mute as many people as possible. So I hear somebody getting out of their car, getting into their car, driving on the highway. If you're on your phone, I know we've got a couple people who called in. You can mute your phone. We want to have as clear of a line as possible. So everybody mute, so we can be like focused here. So I can be focused. So I don't know if you're wondering, like, how in the world did another year go by? I mean, I had that thought so many times yesterday. I'm like, how is it June 30th again? I mean, really, how have we made it through another year? It seems like the pace of life continues to increase, continues to go fast. And so the reason I say there's a deception to the feeling of the start of a new year or a new month is because we can get complacent. And oh man, there's some background noise going on, guys. Maybe in the car talking to someone. Can everyone make sure they are muted? Can you double check? I hear somebody talking in the background, possibly. We have got to mute, people. We have got to mute. Okay, that's the clearest I've heard the line so far. I think we got it. And so there can be this feeling that there's enough time, but I think there's deception in that because it causes procrastination, you guys. It causes procrastination. It causes a slow start. And there's one thing I know about success is that success loves speed, and it loves a fast start and a quick start. I never like to take July 1st off. Even though you get like no sleep the night before and it feels like this sense of relief and you want to break, I'd rather take July, 4th, 5th, 6th off and actually get a strong start to the new year. And I want us this year to really learn to live and to work with a sense of urgency. And when I say urgency, I know sometimes we think like frantic or flustered, but I don't mean that kind of urgency, you guys. I mean the urgency that comes from like you understand the value of every moment you've been given. And you learn to prioritize it. And you learn to be a good steward of every moment. Forget every day, you guys, every moment. You learn to steward every moment well that you've been given on this earth. And you choose that every moment you're going to move closer and closer to your vision versus further away or versus like those neutral choices. Okay? So we want to live every moment, steward every moment well. And I think that's what it means to live with this. And so we're going to talk a lot about how to get a strong start and how to invest our time well. Because here's what I believe, and I stand so firmly on this, that what God has called you to, He will create the capacity for. Okay, what God has called you to, He will create the capacity for. I don't believe God ever calls us to something that we really don't have the energy to give to it, or that we don't have enough, because He equips us with enough. Okay, we've got some major background noise, you guys. Okay, maybe it's not. Major background noise happening. Please mute your line. Please mute your line. I'm trying to mute as many of you as I possibly can. Mute. If you're not muted, I'm like going through and looking for you to mute you. Okay, whoo, that's better. So whatever you've been called to, whatever's been assigned to you, whatever vision you've been given, you have enough time and energy to do it when you choose to steward every moment well. And we're going to use this workbook to do that. And this workbook that you have, yes, I hope it helps you hit all your Mary Kay goals this year and have some big wins this year. I hope it helps you to do that. But more importantly, you guys, I pray it's a tool that you can use so that you're investing your time and energy into your God-given vision and turning away from distractions and turning off distractions and truly are laser focused on God's vision for your life. Okay, so more than I want you to like reach all your Mary Kay goals, you guys, let's learn to be good stewards of the life and the time we've been given so that we can grow and impact and advance the kingdom of God. Isn't that really the bigger calling? Isn't that really the bigger goal? Well, it does start with you using your time well and pursuing your Mary Kay goals in a way that would be honoring to God. So I don't know about you, but I would rather keep up than catch up. I would rather do a little bit every day than have to have a frantic finish to the week or to the month or to the year. I'd rather just plug away every day and be consistent every day than have the frantic push. So let's keep up rather than catch up. Your June 30th finish of 2018, you guys, it starts today. Okay, the experience you have next year on June 30th of 2018, your choices today impact that. They really, really do. So that's why we've got to get a strong start. And clarity is our main objective. We are pursuing clarity because where there is clarity, everything else has a way of working itself out. Okay, and I want to say that again. Where there is clarity, when we have crystal vision, everything else works itself out. Your schedule works itself out, the timing works itself out, your office help works itself out, your scheduling of your appointments, your time with your unit, it all works itself out. Okay, so we are here today on July 1st, and our goal is somewhere out there. Okay, it's somewhere not here with us, and we've got to pursue it and chase it down. We are here, goal is over there, and so there's this gap. There's this gap in between where we are and where we want to be, and we've got to bridge the gap. And I hope and pray that this workbook and you getting clear and grasping onto clarity today with your goal setting helps you to bridge that gap between where you are and where you want to be. Okay, so let me give you the backstory of this workbook. Okay, and by the way, if you haven't downloaded it, I'm going to be screen sharing it so you can follow along. Download it. We will make sure you get it. If you maybe just ordered it, we will absolutely make sure you get it. Okay, so let me give you the backstory to this. Several years ago, I did a 100-day goal setting challenge with Gary Ryan Blair. His nickname is like the goals guy. Darren Hardy has interviewed him on Success Magazine. I think he's been on the cover of Success Magazine. He's just a motivational success, I think, author and speaker. And so it came across my desk one time of this 100-day challenge that he does. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do that. I just want to try that out, see what it's about. And I just like the idea of having that 100-day run and to focus. And so I did it. Oh, maybe it's been 4 or 5 years since I did it. And so I learned a lot from him about goal setting. I mean, he's a masterful goal setter. And a lot of what I've learned about goal setting, I got from that 100-day challenge. And it was just a personal challenge for me. It didn't have a whole lot to do with my business. So that was something that influenced this workbook. And then Amy Kemp, a good friend of mine, we were on our very first top director trip together in 2008 in Munich, Germany. She's a dear, dear friend, and she's a brilliant thinker and leader. And around that time, she had learned this 100-day goal setting concept from another workshop that she had gone to. I forget who taught it, but she learned that concept and she shared a little bit with me about it. Okay, so there was a 100-day challenge I did. I learned a little bit from Amy Kemp, and I decided to do a 90-day, because 90 days just kind of rolls with how we in the Mary Kay world, how our calendar plays out. And so I decided, okay, I want to teach my
I do not want her to see me in my baby
directors in my area and teach myself to think and to goal set within these little 90-day windows, because you're essentially 4 90-day cycles away from your best seminar year ever. And so we're going to do this 4 times throughout the year. And so this is the first time. And then around that time, I also read the book, this incredible book called The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. Incredible book. And there's several chapters that he devotes to the concept of habits create culture. Okay, habits create culture. He talks about Michael Phelps a lot. Some of you have heard me do that training before about the small daily wins, and how that was how Michael Phelps was really taught to be the champion that he is really mastering these small daily wins and learning to create victory every day, and with every choice, and those small little daily wins lead to the big victories. So I learned about that concept in that book. And then another part that he talks about is that every organization has a culture to it, whether it's a large organization or a small one. Even your family, your family that you live with at home, there's a culture to your family. There's a culture to your home and the environment of your home. And so every organization will have culture to it, whether you want it to or not. And so usually when there's not a leader who's intentional about creating that culture will still develop. It just often does not default to something positive. Often the default, unless that culture is being led, is a kind of a negative default. I remember as a teacher, just being a part of the school that I taught at, the culture was just, if we had to pick one word, I mean, I would just like complain. It was just a culture of complaining. It was just constant complaining about life and work and the kids they taught, and the government and the weather. There was just always something to complain about. And I just remember feeling so icky about that. And it's one reason Mary Kay was so attractive to me, because it was a culture of positivity. Okay, so I was a new national sales director at the time I read this book, and I so badly wanted to lead and create this amazing culture in my area. And I knew that from the book that habits create culture. Well, habits are all about whatever you choose on a daily basis. And so I wanted to create a tool for my directors to use on a daily basis to develop habits which would then impact the culture of our organization. Okay, I want to say that again. I wanted to create a tool every day and focus on it every day in order to create habits, and those positive habits would create positive culture in our national area. So that is where the 15-day tracking sheet came from, you guys. And so these were like 2 separate things. There was like this 90-day goal setting concept, and there's this 15-day tracking sheet where I wanted to create healthy habits to create a healthy culture. And then eventually, like, I joined them together, and it went like full circle. Because separately, like, there was something missing. So I'm like, I need to marry these 2 ideas so that we have we go full circle with the concept. Okay. And so I wanted to give you that background just so you know where it kind of came from and some thoughts that it came from. And it has developed a lot over the years, really over the past 4 or 5 years. And so the 15-day tracking sheet, and you guys, I'm just realizing we're in Zoom. And Zoom is not like Google Hangouts. In Google Hangouts, it's very easy to screen share, and I don't know how to screen share on a Zoom Hangout. And so we are just going to have to talk through this, and you can look at your workbook, or you can, it's the button at the bottom. Somebody just told me, I see it. Thank you. So share screen. Okay, that's super easy. So let's go through, you guys, the 15-day tracking sheet. That's what I wanted to start with, so that you can really see. Okay, can you guys see that? Can someone let me know? Can you guys see the 90-day workbook right now? I think you can. Yeah. We are just rolling with it today and learning to pivot. Many opportunities. many opportunities today. So let me scroll through here and get to the 15-day. Here it is. Okay, 15-day tracking sheet, because you can do anything for 15 days. And so it basically takes this concept and you break your month down into 2 segments, and you track activity and your focus for 2 segments of 1 month time frame. And so right here, you track your key behaviors and how many days you're actually completing your key behaviors. We're going to talk about that later in the Hangout. You write your current red jackets down and the next to move up, so you can always be focusing on developing leaders. The book you're currently reading, you're going to track the people you're in front of. You track the parties that you are booking and holding. You track the personal career surveys and guests that you're booking and holding. You track handwritten notes. I think that's such an important form of communication for a leader to have and to be consistent with handwritten notes. You track checking in with your senior director or your national sales director. You track your agreements with the goal to have 10 plus new agreements per month, because that's actually what creates growth. And then you track, for our area, we've got the Power Program, which tracks the amount of parties that we do, and we track the number of Power Program achievers that we have. And then you track the months that you complete the Power Program and that you complete a book 10. Okay, so those are, that is the 15-day tracking sheet. And so when you fill that out daily, what habits are you creating with that? And just to name a few and mention a few, I think you're learning to be intentional. It takes a lot of intention to do these things and focus on these things. It takes a lot of planning in advance to make sure your day is designed so that you've got the time to invest in these things. I think you develop a work ethic. Man, when that thing is filled out, it means you're working and you're in the field and you're exercising your work ethic and developing your work ethic. I think it creates consistency to focus on it and do it every day. You learn to invest in people, because a lot of this tracking sheet has to do with the people you're connecting with and the leaders you're developing. You learn to embrace accountability too. Even if you don't share this with anyone, I've had my directors in the past share their 15-day tracking sheet. Even if you don't share it, you're creating accountability with yourself. And so those are just a few habits that you're creating as you do this tracking. And remember, habits create culture. And so I want to get into the 90-day goal setting. Okay, we've got kids in the background, a lot of noise. I hear like a dryer, maybe a dryer even in the background. We have got to mute, my friends. I'm trying to mute as many of you as I possibly can. And I can't keep up with muting. And I hear like water running in the background, maybe like a dryer going. Maybe it's a shower. Lord have mercy. Who's got background noise? Water is running. Somebody's doing the dishes, maybe. Okay, I think I got it. Okay, so here we go, you guys. Let's move into some goal setting concepts as we get into the workbook. Goal setting, you guys, it's simple. It's super simple. Children can set goals. It's not a hard thing to do. You don't really have to learn that much to set a goal, but yet it's profound. And I think most people don't know how to set and execute goals. The execution part being the harder part. And so we've all fallen into these goal setting pitfalls. Have you ever set goals and forgot about them? Have you ever done that? I have. Have you ever written down goals and you lost the paper or the journal that you wrote them in? Done that. Have you ever set goals without a plan of execution? Like you just said, well, I want to do this and that, but then no really daily plan to execute. Have you ever set goals that really aren't important to you? I think we do that in the Mary Kay world. We feel like we should say this is our goal, or that we should pursue this goal when maybe it's not important to you, and we're just saying it because it sounds good or because everyone else is doing it. So you've got to have like a strong personal why behind the goals that you set. Have you ever set goals without considering the larger picture of your life or the capacity that you have? And I am all about dreaming big, but you also have to consider the life that you want to live and the demand that you have and the responsibility that you have to your family. And you've got to set it within that context. We can't set Mary Kay goals in just a vacuum without considering the rest of our life and the rest of our priorities. And then have you ever set goals with no system to track them? I have done that as well. And if there's no tracking or accountability in place, I mean, you may as well not set any goals, because that's what holds you to it. And that's what creates that consistency. And so it's truly the execution, not the goal, that carries more value. It is the execution. And so this is a goal setting and execution plan and program as you work through this workbook. Goals never fail, only implementation and execution. That's what fails. The goal is irrelevant without a plan of execution. And so I want you to have complete clarity on your goals, because you really spend a lot less time in worry and guilt when you have clarity. Remember, I said we're pursuing clarity today. And when you have clarity, everything else finds a way of working itself out. And so I think sometimes we feel guilty when we're working our business and we're not with our family. And then when we're with our family, we feel guilty for being with our family and not working our business. And so let's stop that vicious, crazy cycle, you guys, and learn to be 100% present where we are with no guilt. And I think clarity can help you to do that. Andy Stanley has this quote that says, "Money follows vision. It rarely happens the other way around." Okay, so your paycheck in Mary Kay follows the level of clarity that you have for your vision. And you usually don't just go out and make a big paycheck and hit big production without a whole lot of clarity. And maybe you do for a season. I think you can have spurts of success in Mary Kay without a high level of clarity, but it's not lasting. And we want to build something that's sustainable, something that lasts. And so clarity is necessary for that. Clarity solves time management problems. I've already touched on that. And so this process of working through this workbook, guys, it is time consuming. I have done it, I don't know, so many times. I've gone through this process many, many times over the years, and it's time consuming. I mean, it takes a few hours to work through it and to process through it and to review it and to follow up on it. But it's so worth the investment of time, because I think it saves you a lot of disappointment in the future, because it truly actually creates growth. So invest the time on the front end, you guys, and then get to work. Okay, and then once you have your plan, because the goal is that you would finish this and you would actually have like a daily plan. And we're going to talk about that as we work through the worksheet. Once you have your daily plan, you just put your head down and you focus on it and you work it daily and track it daily. And I'm going to encourage you not to revise your plan or review your plan or change your goal for 90 days. That you would really just put your head down, focus, and not change anything or adjust anything for an entire 90-day cycle. And guess what? It takes time to see the growth and the results. It's going to take time. Okay? And people lose their vision. They lose their vision between the what. Lord have mercy. Somebody is cooking or something. A lot of people lose their vision between the what and the how. Okay, so they know what they want to do, but they don't know how it's going to happen. It's kind of like bridging the gap from like, this is where I am, this is where I want to go. So you've got in that gap of knowing what you want to do, but not how it's going to happen. You've got to trust God with the how. You just really do. And you can't get lost in the wilderness because he can figure out the how. When you're working and giving him the space to figure out the how, you just got to hold on to belief in that gap. Okay, don't lose your vision between the what and the how. Okay, your plan that you guys create, it really is your meal to success this year. It's in your plan, because most people, all people are capable of success, but they're not prepared for success. Let me say that again. All people are capable of reaching their goals and being successful this year and soaring to greater heights than you ever have in your Mary Kay business. But most people just don't plan to. They're not prepared to. So you've got to create your plan, take action, and there's nothing you can't accomplish this year. Okay? Create your plan, take action. There's nothing you cannot do. So action without a plan is like playing poker without looking at the cards in your hand. I mean, it's just a crapshoot. You're flying by the seat of your pants and often just spinning your wheels. So let's not just get into action. Let's have a plan that backs up that action. Okay. You'd be pretty hard pressed to convince me that tracking using a paper and pencil, or for those of you who like paperless, using an iPad and a spreadsheet, you'd be hard pressed to convince me that that does not support your focus and your success, regardless of your personality style. Because I know a lot of people get tripped up like, oh, I'm not a C, I'm not into details, I'm not a numbers person. How long has that excuse worked for you, my friend? And when will you be ready to be a leader and do it anyways, even if it doesn't come naturally? Okay, there are some people who love this tracking, planning process, and there's some people who get very overwhelmed by it, but that cannot be your excuse to not invest time in doing this. I don't care what your personality style is. I don't care how much C is on your DISC chart, and if there's none, that's okay. This is still possible for you. So you probably could not convince me that tracking is a crucial part of your business and your leadership. But here's the thing, every leader has the freedom to choose how she tracks and how she plans. If you asked 100 NSDs how they track and how they look at their numbers, you'd hear 100 different ways to do it. If you asked 100 top sales directors or $1 million sales directors how they plan and how they track, you'd hear 100 different ways to do it. So it's not really about the way you do it. There are going to be some things in this 90-day planner that really resonate with you, but there are going to be some things that don't. So every leader has the freedom to choose what she really hones in on and focuses on, and how she chooses to track. I love spreadsheets. I prefer to be paperless. I don't like a lot of things like hanging around on my walls that are papers and tracking, because okay guys, I'm upgrading my Zoom account. I am upgrading it because it's going to cut us off. Oh my goodness. My credit card better be in here. Say $30 monthly. This is just so funny to me. I just have to roll with it, you guys. I really do. Okay, we are gonna go get my credit card. Oh, right here. Yay! This is just crazy. Just when you think you're like 110% prepared, you're actually not. This meeting now has unlimited minutes. Yay! Oh, Lord. Um, I'm just rolling with it. I'm trying to stay calm, trying to stay focused here, just rolling with the unexpected plans.
Hey, Leah,
Yes.
you can mute everybody. I sent you a private message. All you have to do is click down there on the participants where it says on that bottom bar, and you should be able to mute the whole group.
Oh, God love you for telling me that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Whole group. Manage participants. Yeah, okay. Okay, I see everybody, but I don't see how to, okay, I see it. Yeah, mute all. Got it. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Whoever just told me that, thank you. I didn't see the private message. Deep breaths. Okay. Okay, here's a few tips on how to use this, you guys, before we get into the screen share. I have mine printed at FedEx in color, spiral bound with a clear page protector, a clear page protector on the front, just to keep it, keep it clean. And then what I also wanted to mention is I know there may be sheets in here that you wouldn't use. In the Unleash area, we use the Power program. I realize you have probably another program, or maybe there's another sheet you like to use personally to track your own personal business. So pull that Power program out and pop in yours. You can do that at FedEx. Print this page, but not this page. Insert this page here. Okay, so I want to encourage you to really make this your own and add and maybe delete anything that maybe you wouldn't use, okay? Also, you can have FedEx tab it, although it's pretty expensive to have them tab it. So I just get those little, little tabs at an office supply store that you can stick on yourself. It's nice to have the months tabbed and different sheets that you're gonna use a lot tabbed in there. My personal one has like new consultant tracking in the back, and there's different things that I add personally as an NSD that I like to use. So you can take it and really customize it. And I want to encourage you to do that so you really feel like ownership of your own workbook and plan. Quarters 2, 3, and 4, they are coming. I really hope to have them ready by today, but they're just not. And so they're coming, and we'll add them to the website when that time comes. So that is coming soon. Okay, so here we go. Let's actually go through the workbook. And I know you can read, and I know it's self-explanatory, but there's a couple things I just feel like I really want you to hear and wrap your mind around as you are personally going through this. So let's screen share again. Share screen. So glad you can do this on Zoom. I didn't know that. I've not used Zoom nearly as much as I've used Google Hangouts. So here we go, you guys. There's a table of contents. So let's start on page 3. And this is hashtag we have crystal clear vision. And these hashtags are actually my area affirmations. Some of them we've got about 30 area affirmations that we have. And we have a mural painted in our Cincinnati studio with these on there. And they're a part of all of our event workbooks. Because again, I really want to define culture. I want to define culture in our national area. So we've got these hashtags that sort of define who we are and how we roll and the level of excellence that we live our lives and work our businesses. So hashtag we've got crystal clear vision. This may be my most favorite part of the entire workbook is right here. These first few pages with these questions. And they're just questions to help pull out your vision, or to bring clarity, or to discover what's really truly on your heart. And I really believe that unless you invest time in really pondering these questions, like really, really pondering them, really, really investing time, sometimes we don't know our vision. Like sometimes I could ask somebody, what's your vision? It's like, I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't have a level of clarity. And so these questions, the point is that it would help you and support you. And if you are clear on your goal, it just adds more power to it. And so I did these questions a couple of days ago. And let me tell you, I've answered these questions a million times, but it's so funny. Like every time I go through them, something is a little bit different, or I pull something new out, or a new season of life brings about a new, fresh vision. And so even if you've answered questions like this before, do it again. Do it again. It's kind of like a journal. You journal daily, and it's always something different and something new's on your mind and heart. Well, same with this. It's like another journal entry. And where are you at right now, July 1st, 2017? Help start to define where you're at mentally and emotionally. Okay? So I won't read the questions, but these are really, really good at drawing out what's in your heart. Now, you could go through this and just jot something down real quick and be done with it, but that's not very effective. I think it's most effective when you really almost meditate over the questions. Give yourself time to think about them before you start writing. Get in a quiet place, get in an environment that's undistracted. You may not want to do this sitting at your office desk with piles of paper all around you that are creating visual distraction. Go take a walk in the park and sit on a beautiful park bench that overlooks beautiful scenery. Go to a quiet, peaceful place in your home. Go to Starbucks, go to Barnes and Noble, go to the library, get in your car. Doesn't matter where that environment or that spot is for you, but just pick a serene environment to go through and process through these questions. Okay. And you'll notice kind of a theme, or at least I do every time I go through a goal setting session like this, is I'll start noticing kind of the same answer keeps popping up. And that's when you've hit on something. When you keep going back to a certain area of your life or a certain habit or a certain desire, you've hit something. And so look for that theme, that the same thing starts to come to mind with a lot of these different questions. And all of these questions should bring you to the very last question on page 4, which asks you, what are you committed to change in your life? What are you committed to change in your business? Okay. All the questions before that should lead to that answer to that, because without change, there is no progress. Okay. Without a shift this year, there is no progress. And unless you're absolutely 100% perfectly pleased with your results right now, there needs to be a shift and a change or a tweak. It doesn't have to be a big one, but something different's got to happen to get the results that you want out of your life and your business. Okay, so then we go on to this section here, which is 50 reasons for achieving the goal that you listed. So it says, what would have to happen for you to be able to say this has been the best seminar year ever? So you pick that one big overarching goal. Then you break it down. Okay, by September 30th, where would you need to be? By December 31st, where would you need to be? By March 31st, where would you need to be? And then June 30th, what is the ultimate goal? So you're taking that big overarching goal, breaking it down into benchmark goals, and then writing 50 reasons for achieving this. 50 may seem like a lot until you get going. Really, really ponder it, and I would be surprised if you can't come up with 50 reasons for achieving the goal that you listed. And again, with your 50 reasons, you'll start to notice a theme. You'll start to notice that you keep going back to this certain area of your life or this certain drive that you have. And so that's when you go through and start highlighting your top 25. And then out of your top 25, you're going to star or pull out your top 5 and write your mission statement below. I have a mission statement on my website that's been there for several years now, and it came out of doing this as a sales director. I think it was at a fall advance with Pam Shaw one year. We did this as an activity at our fall advance, and out of that came my mission statement, which has been a source of inspiration and focus for me for several years. But it came from doing this exercise. So I want to encourage you to do that. And again, it changes. I do this a couple times throughout the year because these reasons change and the goals change. And sometimes you hit that big goal that you wanted. And that's a great time to get clear again on the next level or that next goal that you're pursuing. Okay, let's go to step number 2. Hashtag we are obsessive trackers. And if you don't like to track, my friend, just embrace it. because it's going to make you better this year. So hashtag we are obsessive trackers. So again, you identify your year-long goal and then you're crunching numbers. This may be the most tedious part and maybe the most challenging part if you're not a numbers person and maybe not in the habit of breaking things down. This may be the most challenging part. I want to give you permission to skip over anything that doesn't resonate with you or that really isn't a goal that you have. Okay, I give you permission to skip over or X out anything that is truly not on your heart to focus on. Okay, so don't just fill it out because it's there. Fill it out because you know it's going to add power to your activity and your focus this year. Okay, so you go through it. So let's just briefly kind of run through these. Let's start with personal court of sales. You would want to, I think the most important part is this black arrow right here down at the bottom. Every section ends with a question that kind of says something like this. Identify the activity it will take to hold or to do the activity to finish the goal. That's essentially what they all say. Like, what is the daily activity it's going to take? And so with your personal sales goal, you guys, it's going to boil down to maybe a dollar amount per day or per week. It might boil down to a certain number of customer calls per day or per week. It might boil down to maybe Tammy Craig's 4-hour plan where you're investing an hour of time every working day in customer follow-up and in sales. It may boil down to a number of parties held per week. And so there could be 100 people who have the same goal, but this answer right here with the black arrow can look very, very different depending on how you want to approach it. Okay, so there's no like right or wrong answer. It's what you come up with that you want to focus on daily that's going to contribute to the big year-long goal. Okay, and it does give you space here to break it down daily, weekly, and monthly. I realize that some goals are not something you're going to do daily. It's more of a weekly thing or more of a monthly activity. Okay. Personal court of sharing. You guys, that big black arrow there, that activity is probably going to break down into maybe a number of career surveys held per day or per week. Or it might boil down to a number of guests you have to your events per week. It may boil down to a number of parties held. I know a lot of people like to focus on that, just holding those parties, knowing that the activity is going to come from that. Okay. Unit recruits. This is mainly for sales directors. This wouldn't necessarily apply to consultants. So consultants, you're going to set a personal recruiting goal. And then directors, you have an opportunity to set a unit recruiting goal, which also includes your personal recruiting, of course. And so this is probably going to boil down to a certain number of career surveys or guests that your unit is doing, sales directors. Or maybe it comes down to coaching your meetings so that you have enough guests there. Or the daily activity might be or involve new consultants doing their pearls of sharing. So there's a lot of different things you can fill in on those lines next to the big black arrow. But again, you want to boil it down to some kind of daily or weekly focus. That's what we're trying to get at here. It's like, okay, if you want to do Cadillac by June 30th of next year, what do you actually have to do every day? That's what we're trying to figure out. A lot, and again, this is the execution part of this program. Again, a lot of people set a goal and then they just try to go after it and work hard without really a clear plan of execution. And so these activities you're writing down, it is your plan. You guys, it's your map. It's your meal ticket to that bigger goal that you're working on. Okay, monthly production. This would be for, of course, sales directors or consultants who have a team and you're working on either earning a car or requalifying for a car. You're going to figure out what your team is producing on a monthly basis. And so you set your goals, and again, you boil it down to activity. I always boiled production down to career surveys, okay? Because production had a lot to do with new people we were bringing in to fill in the gap between what my base could do and what my goal was. I knew my base unit could produce a certain amount, and then I knew I had a certain goal, and so we're going to fill it in with new consultants starting their business and starting to sell and starting to invest in inventory. And so to bring in new consultants, we had to share with a lot of people. And so to share with a lot of people, we're doing a lot of career surveys and guests. And so that's how I always broke down a production goal. Okay, let's go to the next page, which is unit stars. It gives you an opportunity to write down and jot down the systems that you have in place or that you want to have in place to build unit stars, and then the activity it will take to reach your goal. Huh, can you write on this? Looks like it, huh? Okay. Book 10 Empower program. Those are two programs we have in our unit and in our national area that that we focus on a lot. We pretty much live, eat, and breathe Book 10 and working the Power program at the level of 6, 8, 10, or 12. That means 6 parties, 8 parties, 10 parties, 12 parties. And so we, you can have a goal for the number of achievers, and this would be for sales directors. And then you've got a section to focus on people moving up the career path. You've got a section for event attendance. I'm going to talk more about that in just a minute. And then you've got a section to set your life goals, and we're going to talk more about that in just a minute. Okay, so let's move on to your 90-day communication strategy.
I can't hear it.
Oh, somebody can't hear it. I'm hearing. Okay, I think we're all still good. I heard somebody can't hear, but I'm assuming everyone else can. So I'm going to keep going unless I hear otherwise. I think we're still good. We can hear you. Thank you, Tana. Okay, I'm going to keep going. Okay, 90-day communication strategy, you guys. Let me talk a little bit about this before I go back to screen share. And so how I always have done this is I've broken it down into different days of the week. And this is just how my brain could wrap around it. Okay, so the main programs that I communicate with my unit, my area, would include our Power program, which you may call it something different if you're in a different national area, but it's basically tracking your faces in your parties. So our Power program, our Book 10, the STAR program. Thank God the bonus is back. Can I get an amen? Coaching one-on-one was another big area of communication. New consultant follow-up, and then event campaigning for the next event was a big thing I have always invested a lot of time in. And so I just like to break it down by days of the week. And here's why, is because as a newer director, I would have this feeling, I call it the oh crap feeling, where you remember something like maybe it's close to the end of the STAR quarter and maybe you haven't really coached consultants or recognized it. And you're like, oh crap, I haven't really promoted that with my unit, or I haven't really coached my people to finish their STAR goals. Like, oh crap. It's that feeling of like missing the boat, or knowing that you haven't really been on it with leading your people. Or even leading yourself. And so to avoid that oh crap feeling, I just started to make sure it's a part of every day or every week, depending on what it was. And so I know that every week I'm going to think about the STAR Consultant Program. And I'm going to think about the people who are close. And I'm going to think about who maybe needs some coaching, or I'm going to think about what kind of recognition would really affirm people who are either stars or close to being stars. I'm just going to consider that and invest time into developing people by using that program. Okay, and same with every other program I mentioned. And so that helps me to avoid that oh crap feeling, because I know it's on the agenda every week. Now, some weeks I'm investing like 10, 15 minutes into doing that. And some weeks I'm investing more time. Depending on the week and the month, you're going to invest different amounts of time in these different programs. But you just want to make sure it's on the agenda, that it's on the docket, so that it's being covered, so that you don't get to the end of the STAR quarter and have no stars because you never promoted it. You know what I'm saying? And so the sheet that you have gives you a place where you can fill out what you're going to do each week. So this is an example of mine, and I just have the topics on each day during the week that I'm going to invest time in. A lot of this is delegated too. And so my assistant has her own agenda that she follows each week and each month that supports me in the unit communication that is going out. So she's got this too. And you want any assistant that you have or unit manager that you have, you want her to have a communication strategy as well. You set it up, give it to her, and then she takes it from there. I love this section here because it helps me to just remember, like, how am I going to promote and recognize the Power Program this month or this year? What about the Star Consultant Program? How am I going to promote and recognize people moving into Red? If I have ready right now people, what is my one-on-one coaching plan with them? Okay, so you go through these questions, which helps you to hit on some major areas of communication that we have as leaders, and then you just make a plan for it. And your plan avoids that oh crap feeling. Okay, so that's the 90-day communication strategy. Let's move on to step number 4 and cover that one. Let me make sure I'm covering everything I want to. Okay, so I skipped a part that I really wanted to share with you guys. So let me kind of back it up. So you remember the first questions that you go through in the workbook in the beginning. That's to like help you get clarity on your vision. So I want to do a little bit of training that I've received, and this is mainly from Andy Stanley. He has an incredible book called Visioneering. If you have not read that, like, oh my goodness, it's like a must read for any leader who's leading people and any leader who just wants to lead themselves well, because it always starts with that. And then it helps you to learn to share and lead others in their vision. And so let's do a little bit of vision training, because vision it's looking beyond what is and painting a picture of what could be and what should be in every area of your life. So this is what is, this is your current circumstance, and you look beyond that and you paint a picture of what could be and what should be, not only in Mary Kay, but as a wife, as a mom, as a Christ follower. In every role that you play, you're kind of creating that vision. And so vision is not just a goal. Sometimes I'll ask people, what's your vision? They say pink Cadillac. And I'm like, no, that's a goal. That's a goal. Vision is bigger. It's broader than just a goal. A vision is like a sense of who you want to be and the kind of life you want to live and the legacy you want to leave. So it's that big picture vision of your life. And then goals fit within that big vision, and you've got goals that you work towards to achieve the big vision, but the vision is always the big picture, okay? And just about every God-ordained vision appears to be impossible. And that is always the case when God puts something on our hearts for us to do. The task always appears to be just out of reach. And the reason it appears that way, you guys, is it's because God ordained it. You know, consider the source. We shouldn't be surprised when God has a vision or a calling on your life. If it were easy, it wouldn't really be from Him, because you could do it in your own power. And a part of achieving your vision is learning to rely on Him to equip you and to provide the resources and to fill in the gap between the what and the how. And so there are always going to be obstacles when God births a vision in your heart. There's always going to be a lack of resources. Often there's little to go on other than just this gut feeling and this desire, and hopefully a sense of destiny and a feeling that this is what you were made for, and an assurance that what God has called you to, He's calling you out onto uncharted waters with His divine purpose in mind. And so you don't know what God is up to behind the scenes. We don't always see the bigger picture He's weaving in our lives. And we often don't know how close we are to a breakthrough. And I want that to give you hope and belief today. If you're in a place in your business that you don't want to be in, or that you're not excited about, you don't know how close you are to breaking through that and moving on to a bigger and brighter level in your life and your business. It is no accident you are where you are, and God is very much in control of your life and your business. And so if you feel possibly overwhelmed, because you may have those feelings as you go through this, you may have this like heart pounding feeling of being overwhelmed, or questioning whether you have what it takes to do the work, and if you even want to do the work, because it's going to be hard work to achieve this goal. And so it can give you that sense of being overwhelmed. But remember, you are invited to tap into the inexhaustible resources of God. And he is not expecting you to come up with everything needed to accomplish the vision he's birthed in you. He will equip you. He will provide. And he wants you to rely on him in the process. And so there's this Andy Stanley quote, which I love. It says, pursuing a vision will test you, it'll stretch you, and at times it will exhaust your faith. And while you're pulling your hair out down here, God revels in the glory he receives. And it makes me think of Gideon's army. That is probably my most favorite story in the whole Bible, is the story of Gideon and how he was called to lead this army. And there were thousands and thousands of men who were going to go fight this battle. And God kept whittling the army down to smaller and smaller numbers until they only had 300 men. And with 300 men, they went and conquered victoriously and got a victory that was impossible. It was totally impossible. And God said, I did that so that you could not boast that you earned this victory in your own power. I did that so that I would receive the glory. And there's many, many times in my Mary Kay business that I have felt like I am leading Gideon's army. And I look at my numbers and I'm like, there's not enough people to do this. There's not enough production to finish this goal. There's not enough time. And it feels like they were just not equipped, or that I'm not equipped, or I don't have what it takes. And I always remember Gideon's army. I'm like, okay, it's because I can't boast in my own power for the goals that we achieve. It's so that God gets the glory. And it gives me such a level of peace. I'm like, okay, I'm not supposed to have enough. I'm not supposed to see it. I'm not supposed to feel like I have what it takes. Okay, whew, relief. I'm supposed to rely on God and his resources, and that he's got it. Okay, it's given me an incredible sense of peace as I've pursued big goals over the years. And it alleviates the anxiety. And it takes away the anxiousness and the restlessness and replaces it with a peace and a joy that makes working this business so fun. And so if you've pursued big goals and you've had a lot of anxiety that has come with it, you got to remember that story, or hold on to something that can alleviate that anxiety and allow you to have joy in the journey. Okay, so let's see. We are on now step number 4 with my key behaviors. I have learned this from Darren Hardy. I mean, he is masterful at teaching you how to create new habits in your life. And this comes from his massive transformation formula, which is basically a goal setting formula and a habit creating formula. Like, it's all about daily wins and choices and creating healthy habits so that you can achieve your goals. And it's stupid simple. And that's why I love it. It's just not complicated. It's just simple, simple, simple. And so you write down your goal. And then that's step number 1. You have to do this seminar. Mute all. What would you have to do this seminar year for you to be able to say this was the best year ever? You write that down. The next question is, what daily key behaviors? And daily key behaviors, they're like small wins or little activity. They have to be small and just very, very achievable, because you're going to do them on a daily basis. So what daily key behaviors would directly influence the goal that you wrote above? You're going to pick 2 to 5. And I would recommend like more on the side of 2, because if you have too many, you're not going to do it, because then it becomes complicated and too time consuming. It's just got to be something you can do every day. And the goal is to create a new healthy habit. That is the goal of this. We're going to create new healthy habits in our life. I think there's this myth about discipline. People often say like, man, if I were more disciplined, or, she's so successful because she's so disciplined. But really, when you see a very disciplined person, all you're seeing is somebody who's trained a couple healthy habits in their life. And those healthy habits make it appear that they have a lot of discipline, but it's really just a few healthy habits. That's all that it is. Because the habits take the hard stuff and make the hard stuff easy. Okay, so the hard things you got to do every day, if you make it a habit, it makes it seem easy and flawless, which just allows you to produce more and to grow more in your life and your business. Okay, so you pick those habits, and mine currently, I'm going to share with you what they are. My daily key behaviors are I know a lot of you have read Miracle Morning. It's going through a miracle morning every single morning. And I've kind of adjusted it to fit me and the time that I have and what I want to focus on. But it's a version of the Miracle Morning, Hal Elrod's book. If you haven't read it, pick it up. It'd be a good one for the new year. And then the second one is just daily positive input. And so it could be sermons, it could be podcasts. There's a lot of different things I tune into to listen to on a daily basis, just to have that daily positive input, because it so beautifully impacts my mind and my heart. Like, I know days that go by that I chose not to do that. I can feel it. Like, I can feel it at the end of the day. And I know days that I do choose to invest time in that, a miracle morning and daily positive input. I feel energized and empowered and energetic and just ready and visionary. And I just have more of a flow to my day, to my mind, to my heart. My thoughts are just flowing in a direction I would want them to when I invest time in doing that. And so it's like these two things touch every part of my life in such a massive way. And it's what allows me to do the activity that I identified back here. You know, when you crunch your numbers and figure out that black arrow, what is the daily activity or the weekly activity you need to do to accomplish that? It's the habit of my key behaviors that give the energy for me to give to the other work that I do. Okay. So what could those be for you? And then you plan a way to track it. And you guys, if you're not tracking it, I won't get on a soapbox about this, because we started late and we're way behind, and I'm feeling a sense of urgency to go through this. So I won't get into that. But if you don't track it, I mean, how do you know you're doing it? How do you know you're making progress? How do you know there's growth? Okay, so the way I track this is I have my own brain book that has those two things, and I literally just check off the days that I do it in this brain book that I have that's an adapted version for an NSD. I just check it off. And so for you guys, there is a place on the 15-day tracking sheet that we already went over that allows you to check off the days you do your daily key behaviors. Okay? Okay, and so then there's review and remember. That's on my key behaviors page. It's this blue box right here. And I'm going to tell you what tool you can use to do the review and remember. And it's a new tool that I've been using. I love it. And so we're going to do that here in just a minute. Okay. I want to make sure I'm going through everything I need to. Okay, then we have unit stars right here where you track those. And you have your systems to build and develop stars and bring in new stars right here. And then you have your A, B, and C list for event campaigning. And that is something I do on a weekly basis. It's a part of my 90-day communication strategy, is that one day a week, I'm going to campaign for the next event coming up. And I make an A, B, and C list. A are my people those are my key people. I probably don't even need to remind them to register. They're on it. They're going to be there. B people are the people I spend the most energy in. They're people who I want to be there, but I know they're not just going to go register themselves. It's going to take maybe a conversation or some coaching or some encouragement from me, their leader, to get them there. So I'm going to invest the most energy into them. C people are people who I don't think they're really going to come, but I like her, so I'm going to reach out to her. And so it may just be a flyer in the mail. It may be a quick text. I don't invest a lot of time in C people, but I want them to at least know, and I just want to reach out and make a connection to maintain our relationship and just give her the opportunity to possibly say yes to the event. And so again, B people, I'm investing the most time in them. So once a week, I go and look at my A, B, and C list, and I campaign for that event. Sometimes I spend 15 minutes on it. Sometimes I spend an hour on it. It just depends on what's going on and how close we are to the event. Then you have a 90-day at a glance. I like this. This is not my main calendar because it's just small, but I just like to see it all there. Like visually, I like to see it. Also, when you only look at a month at a time, sometimes you forget the weekends, like that this weekend is next to this weekend. Like if you're only looking at the month. So sometimes I've found that when I only look at a month, I book something this weekend and this weekend, forgetting that they're connected. And I'm like, ooh, that's like too much going on. Or I just try to avoid booking stuff too much back to back, especially with travel. And so I like to just see the whole 90 days laid out there. And I just use this to put like big events, like travel, vacations, any like weddings, or any like big events that are out of the norm of my just daily, weekly, monthly schedule. I like to have on here because I just like to see it all in one place. So I hope that's a beneficial piece of the workbook for you, is that 90 days at a glance. And then here is something I've added that I absolutely love. I don't need to screen share that. I can just show you right here. It is just your hourly schedule and designing your day hour by hour. And yeah, this is just a new thing I've added to my own personal brain book, workbook, goal setting book, whatever you want to call it, that I've really enjoyed. And I like seeing, again, you see 2 weeks when you open it up like that, you see a 1 week up here and the second week down here. And I like to see that 2 weeks at a time. And then this is just a reminder of communication with your unit. And then right here, I like to track my coaching calls that I have with my consultants and my sales directors. And so I just like to see how much time I'm investing in that each week and who I'm investing in. I like to even look back and see like, okay, who have I talked to in this past month or these past 90 days? And so I just write somebody's name down every time we do a coaching call, like a live one-on-one coaching call. Okay, and then that takes us to the 15-day tracking sheet, which we have already covered. And then that takes us to Sunday planning. This is another new one that I've added that I absolutely love. I learned this concept from Darren Hardy, and I freaking love it. So let me screen share this because I want to spend a little bit of time here. Okay, let's find it. So we're scrolling through here. Designing my one precious life, 15 days of tracking. I can do anything for 15 days, next few weeks. Okay, Sunday planning. And there's one page that covers all 4 Sundays of the month. And your version has a place to add the date. This is a different version of the planner. But you have a date that you can add there. And then you break it down into your big 3 goals. Goal number 1, goal number 2, goal number 3. There are some seasons, you guys, when I only have 1 goal or 2 goals. So you don't have to have 3, but it gives you the space to do that. And so you put like the big overarching goals that you have either for the quarter or the seminar year. And you write them down. And then you look at your to-do list after brain dumping it out. Okay, so you brain dump it out on paper and think of what's everything you need to do or accomplish that week. And then you look at those things and you identify which of those things fall in line or move the ball forward on your big 3 goals. And then you start writing them in there. So let's say quarter sales is a goal, a big goal that you have this year. And some things to do on your planner that would contribute to that obviously would be customer calls and follow-up, booking calls and coaching calls to hold parties, actually holding the parties, doing follow-up after the parties. That would be activity that's going to contribute to that big goal of National Quarter Sales. So here's the thing you will find with Sunday planning is that your to-do list often has very little to do with your big 3 goals. It is actually shocking, in fact, when I first started doing this, and again, I think I said I learned this from Darren Hardy, where on Sunday, and it doesn't have to be on Sunday, by the way, feel free to do it whatever day of the week that makes most sense for you and your schedule. But when I started doing this, I would brain dump my to-do list and what I wanted to do and accomplish and just what was, on my mind for that week. And I was shocked. I mean, honestly shocked at how many things were on the list that had nothing to do with the big goals, overarching seminar goals that I had. I mean, it almost made my stomach turn. I'm like, really? Like, how many weeks have gone by that I have been busy, but yet invested maybe very little time in the actual goals that I have. I mean, it was truly shocking. I think you may have the same experience. So again, you start with your brain dump of everything you want to do, accomplish. You use your 90-day month at a glance calendar for that. You're going to use your designing my one precious life, and you're just going to identify the things you want to do and then fill it in under the big 3 goals. And what I found I needed to do was to create space for activity that was actually contributing to my big 3 goals. I'm like, wait a minute, I need to do this, this, and this if I want this goal to move forward. And so it helped to really support me in my focus and making sure on a daily and weekly basis, I was actually doing things that contributed to the goals. I mean, I was truly shocked. And I'm a pretty focused person. I consider myself to be pretty clear on my goals and what it takes and disciplined in that. But was so surprised to see all these things that I felt like I needed to do or wanted to do that have very little to do with the actual goal in my heart. Okay. So let's go down to this section here. And actually, I'm going to return to the screen. Down at the bottom of Sunday planning are some questions I have just pulled from a lot of different areas. And I want to talk through these really quickly. It says, my value per hour is blank. And you fill in that value. The way you figure out your value is you, ideally, you're setting an income goal for the year. Like, how much do you want to make this year? And you set that income goal. Let's just say 100,000 is your goal. And then you divide that 100,000 by the hours that you work. Okay, most people in real life work 40 hours a week. Newsflash to all the Mary Kay sales directors out there. They work 40 hours a week. And they work 50 weeks of the year out of 52, assuming you've got 2 weeks off for vacation holidays. We probably take way more time off than that, than just 2 weeks. Don't you love our flexibility in Mary Kay? I mean, anyways, I could go off on a tangent on that, but I'm not. I'm going to focus. And so you take your income goal divided by the hours that you want to work. So let's say you want to work 20 hours a week. Oops. That would be 20 hours. Let's times it by 50 weeks. That would be 1,000 hours you'd be working this year. And then you take 100,000 divided by 1,000 hours. And so your rate, your value per hour is $100. You make $100 an hour if you want to make 6 figures working 20 hours a week. And so the reason we go through this, and I learned this concept from Darren Hardy, is that you want to know your value so you can know what to stop doing and what to say no to. Would you ever pay someone $100 an hour to comment on Facebook for you? No, you would not. And so why are you investing time in that, or allowing yourself to be distracted by things like social media when it's your work time and your time to focus? And so you, as a leader, as a Mary Kay consultant or director, want to invest time only in the things that would be worth your hourly rate. So you figure out what that is, and it helps you to discern what to say yes and no to. So if your hourly rate is $100 an hour, my friend, you need to do $100 an hour work. And for a director, that's sharing the opportunity. That's on the phone doing career surveys or meeting people. That's holding parties. That is coaching your unit members one-on-one and investing time in that. And so are those the main things you're doing? Because whenever you choose to do something that is not valued at $100 or more, like getting wrapped up in social media or being distracted by YouTube videos or just answering email and responding to email, you are just basically taking $20 bills and lighting them on fire and watching it burn. You are burning away your income. when you're not investing in things that are worth your time and you're at the value or the rate that your time is worth. And so that that knowing my number, my own personal number, it so guides me in my daily choices. I can't tell you how many times I will think throughout the day or the week, is this worth X amount? Is it worth this dollar amount? And if it's not, it's just a quick way to pivot. Like, I need to stop doing this and shift and focus on an activity that would match up with the value that I have per hour. Okay. God love my husband. He is a litigation attorney, and their expectation is to bill 2,000 hours. And so that's not work 2,000 hours. That's doing work that's like billable. It's kind of like our income producing activity concept. Like, you can only count work as if it's income producing. And so attorneys can only bill something if they can actually bill a client for that work. And so you often have to work more than you can bill. And so his hourly rate is pretty high. And so one day he came to me, he's like, you know what? You could go ahead and not have our cleaning people come. I could do that. I could do that work. I could do what they do in a shorter period of time, and we would save money there. And I'm like, do you know what I pay them? It is not worth your time with your hourly rate. This is what you make per hour. It would not even be close to worth your time to invest in cleaning our house when I can pay someone this amount to do it. Like, I can't afford you. I can't afford you to clean our house because your rate is way too high. Okay. And so it's a way to discern, like, what is actually worth your time. Sometimes we're doing these little penny jobs when you really could pay someone else a lower rate so that then you could invest time in doing work that's earning you a higher level of income. Okay. So really important thing to know. What is your hourly rate? And then it asks, what are the things I need to stop doing or say no to? For me, it's staying up too late or having my phone too close to the time I go to bed. So you know how you just want to like check in one more time or check your messages. I can get so caught up in that in the evening that an hour goes by and I'm like, oh my gosh, I should have been sleeping an hour ago. And so I set a timer that I'll give myself 10 minutes to kind of check in the evening after the kids go down, and then I'm out. And I have to cut myself off. Otherwise I stay up too late and then I can't get up early enough to do my miracle morning and do my little routine in the morning so that I have the energy to give to everything else that day. And so for me, that's what I have to say no to. I have to say no to staying on my phone too long in the evening, because then I'm not asleep when I need to be asleep. So that would be an example of like, what are the things you need to say no to? What's your highest priority this week? Where will you plug in jam sessions this week? Jam sessions are a 90-hour time frame where you are just undistracted, completely focused, doing income producing work that is worth your hourly value. And then it encourages you to do your morning bookend and your evening bookend. Your bookends are like little routines or habits that you have right when you get up and the hour or so before you go to bed. Like, what do you do that first hour in the morning? What do you do that last hour of the day before it's bedtime? Be so intentional about that time. You guys, if you can start well and finish well, like if you can do those 2 hours really, really well and invest time in activities and habits that contribute value to your life, like, man, crazy stuff could happen in the middle, but you would still have a good day if you can start well and finish well. Okay, so what are your bookends? Be very, very intentional about the first hour and the last hour of your day. And then it gives you an opportunity to write down what habits do I need to create or replace. And so what I do is every Sunday planning, so 4 times a month, I do my Sunday planning, and then I just look at these questions. And it's just a fresh reminder, oh yeah, I got to set my timer every night for 10 minutes and just only give myself that much phone time so I can get to bed on time. It's just a reminder. I swear, we forget, you guys, we forget. We don't remember these things unless we're reviewing them on a daily and weekly basis. And so I love the Sunday planning and hope you find as much value in it as I have. Okay, so let me make sure we are close to wrapping this baby up. Okay, so it's got beat your best here. Oh my goodness, I learned this from the brilliant Pam Shaw. She had a beat your best sheet when I was a director. It was like a foreign language to me as a new director, and it took me time to like go through it and figure out where I could find the numbers and what those numbers meant. But I made myself do it, and it got me in this habit and this way of thinking about my numbers and tracking my numbers that just increased my effectiveness and impacted my growth. And so beat your best. Directors in my area fill this out every month and turn it into me. And it's just a review of the goals that you have and the numbers that you can track. And it helps you to focus and plan for the new month. So they do it at the end of the month to turn it in, and it helps with the planning process in the beginning of the month. Pam Shaw created this, and I've just adjusted it over the years and reformatted it to be in a flow that my brain likes to see and think of. And then at the bottom here, it has your 20% increase numbers. And so you can contact your sales development person and get all your past seminar year numbers, your wholesale you did every month, and the agreements that you added. A 20% increase is something we focus on in our area each month for both wholesale and agreements. And so it starts with getting your numbers from last year. And sales development can totally send you that report if you don't have that information in another place. And then you figure out what a 20% increase would look like. Running with this one focus, you guys, could be a really effective way to make sure you're growing each month by a little bit compared to what you did last year. And then the workbook finishes with our Power Program tracking sheet. It's a tracking sheet we use in our area to track our personal activity with faces, sales, parties, hostesses, career surveys, and guests. You track your star. So you're tracking all of this activity. And you can either use that, it's a super amazing tracking sheet, or replace that with one that you use in your unit or that your national area uses. So feel free to use that however it is effective for you. So, oh my goodness, you guys. Well, thank you for your patience on this hangout today. I hope it was super supportive to you. And I just want to close with encouraging you to book the time now. When can you invest time in this? When can you get in a quiet place, a serene environment, a peaceful environment where you can get clear on your goals? Like today, don't wait too long. Don't wait past July 5th to invest time in doing this so that you're ready. And don't wait till seminar too. I know some sales directors do that. They wait to get to seminar to catch their vision. And although seminar, you will catch a new dream and a new vision, and you'll gain even more clarity at seminar. Don't wait till then to start the process. You guys start today. Jen Keck, did I miss the review and remind? Okay, Jen, review and remember. So this review and remember part, that's where my Sunday planning comes into place. I'm reviewing and remembering the big 3 goals that I have and the activity that it takes to achieve those. So I need like somebody to manage the chat when I am on this. I will master the Zoom Hangout, you guys. I promise. I will master it and get better at this. So, okay, love you guys. Again, Happy New Year. Oh my goodness, have a powerful, powerful start, you guys. And it's up to us. We're the generation that carries on the legacy of Mary Kay. It's us. It's our choices. It's our work. Okay. So we have a heavy calling on us to be responsible to carry on the legacy and the vision that Mary Kay started almost 55 years ago now. Okay. So let's do it. Starts today. All right, you guys, have a blessed New Year and happy 4th of July too.